I think one thing too is I kind of got lost a little bit in my own career. That business was so important to me. Standing up, how could I grow myself? When the most important thing was God and our faith, and then our family, and then business should come next. So I think as we get to understand that more, is how do we also that helps us lead people better, so that they don't make the same mistakes that we make, so
Yeah.
that our people are intentional about their lifestyles, with their faith, with their family, where they with their fitness and their finances. So again, I feel like that's a place that I get to step into now, understanding it more, and try to walk through it every day, and then sort of give that opportunity to the people that work here as well.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Builder's Bible. I'm joined by a really good friend of mine, Robert Moore, who's the president and CEO of NGP, North Georgia Pipeline, and they're a pretty large company, so I'm excited to kind of pick his brain. One of the things I've learned about their company is they're actually doing some of the work required for a lot of major Fortune 500 companies like Amazon and Microsoft with their huge data centers. So I'm excited to pick his brain on that. Robert, tell us, how did you get involved with NGP? Where did you start, or how did you get into the industry?
So North Georgia was a sub of mine from a company that I worked with for a long time. We joined about 4 years ago. Sort of changed the platform, changed the direction of what their primary staple business was. Been very blessed. Been very fortunate. This was around a $15 million company 4 years ago, and last year revenues exceeded 150 million. So a lot of dynamic changes, new visions in place. We've really grown a lot. Been very blessed.
Well, tell us about what type of work do you guys do? So you're working on pretty big projects. We're not talking about single family homes or anything like that. We're doing like huge data centers and stuff. So tell us about your client base and how they find you.
Sure. So we're an industrial contractor. We're a civil contractor. So we do excavation, grading, utility work. We also do dry utility work, such as medium voltage and telecom, primary duct banks, things like that, for primarily data centers. Um, that's about 90% of our platform. We do other industrial projects, such as power generation, automotive facilities, and things of that sort. So but data center work is our primary work platform.
Okay, so a company, I'm assuming, you work for major companies. We're talking like Delta, Mercedes-Benz, like these are big name companies, right? When you do the work that's required for like one of these major facilities, like what is the scope of work and how long, like, are you guys typically engaged in a project like that?
So these are usually long-term projects. So they start by clearing and grubbing of a raw ground piece of property, primarily green, what you'd call a greenfield site. Then we walk them through their excavation, grading, development, site development, ready for a general contractor, building contractor to build the buildings. All the utility infrastructure that's required for drainage, for septic, for water. And then now we also have what you would call a dry utility group that provides medium voltage power delivery, telecommunication delivery to these facilities.
Is it one of the things that I would imagine is dealing with some of these companies? I'm curious to know what your kind of sales typical cycle is. Like, I would imagine that it doesn't move fast with these big players.
No, it's very slow to develop. And a lot of times we keep a lot of eggs in one basket. We've worked for the Microsoft platform here in Atlanta going on 4 years now. So blessed to have them as a customer. We've worked for other data companies, some we can't announce for NDA purposes, but again, it's they are slow to develop and they are long-term projects.
Hmm. Have you? I'm assuming. Well, I want to assume anything. Have you noticed a boom or a tailwind from the amount of data centers that are needed for the whole AI boom? Do you feel like you guys are kind of riding that wave a little bit? Is that helpful for business?
I think so. I mean, it's very demanding, very challenging work. It's very schedule driven. Those are some challenges that comes to play. A little bit different than your residential subdivision build or a commercial build. Um, and like I said, they're very schedule demanding. Um, but they do take a long time to stand up. Now, as far as the AI platform is concerned, that's changing daily as we see. Um, and the sites are changing to support the infrastructure needed for the AI platform.
Does that mean more they need to have larger power sources, or how do you mean they're changing for the AI stuff?
Well, well, power is going to be a problem, and I think we see a 5 to 7 year wave from everything we hear in the industry, and then we'll see a shift back to power because we need the power to support them. They're basically power plants, but they also have a cooling water problem for AI technology, from what I understand. There's more utilities required, more cooling systems required just to run the AI platform.
Hmm.
But
What is
a little above my pay grade too, Andrew.
what are some of the typical challenges that you feel like you're having to typically solve for a client? Is it, developing a certain kind of land? Is it where do jobs typically get hairy?
Well, we're definitely seeing that as urban areas develop more and more. The projects are the good property, you might say, is gone. The easy developmental property is gone. So the sites are getting a lot more challenging. The sites are
Hmm.
getting bigger. The amount of work that it takes to perform does get a little more complex. But again, these are challenges that are fun. They are they make us use our brain.
Hmm. That's good. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you what's the cool. My 4-year-old son Foster would definitely want to know what's the coolest piece of major equipment that you guys own.
Well, I'd say we own a big Volvo 10 yard EC, what you call an EC 950, a big excavator. It's on our
Hmm.
website, and it's a big excavator, and he would definitely like it. I still
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, we're gonna need some footage of that. That's great. Um, okay, what did I want to ask you next? Okay, what are two? Okay, what's going well with your business? One, and then what do you feel like is a sticking point with your business currently?
Well, I think it's kind of, you get to this point where you sort of understand what you can do and what you can't do, and in my position, if you really last year, sort of understood the things that I know and the things I don't know, and so when we kind of get to that place within ourselves, we go, hey, how do we now develop a vision, proper vision for your company, a direction of where you're going? Proverbs 29:18 says, "Where the people had no vision, they perished." And so I think it's extremely critical as we roll a vision out in a pathway and direction. How do we achieve the goals that we set out to do? And that's been big
Hmm.
help for us. And so we see that starting to stand up for us. Um, but it comes with challenges. The biggest challenges we face right now is young talent in the management role, particularly. Because again, as an industrial contractor, we work all over the country. We don't live in one place. So it's a lot of out of town work, it's a lot of travel, and it's not the most conducive setting for home environments. Um,
Hmm.
so as the dynamic is changing in we'll say young managers, it's hard to continue to fill those roles.
Hmm.
And that'll be our biggest limiting factor, Andrew, from a growth development standpoint. And all contractors are facing this is what does the young talent look like?
And specifically for project management, is what you're saying?
Project management is really hard. It's really difficult. Um, that's a
Hmm.
really difficult issue.
What is the project manager look like for you? I mean, I'm assuming they have to have civil engineering experience, which probably comes at a premium.
Not necessarily. They just have to have a builder's mindset.
Hmm.
They have to have a builder's mindset, but they got to have a willingness to work and understand. We don't build things on paper. We build things outside. And not a lot
Hmm.
of your young guys want to come out of college and want to go outside and get their shoes dirty and their hands dirty.
Hmm.
So that's a
Hmm.
dynamic that's changing, and how do we change with it? It's new for me. It's new for some of the
Hmm.
older guys in the business. I was very fortunate at a young age. I got to go outside and spend a lot of time outside and on the road that helped develop my mindset. But again, these guys got to step into that, and again,
Yeah.
it's hard to find.
I have a question. I'm thinking through a lot of the commercial contractors I've had on this show, and I know every one of them wants to be getting bigger and bigger contracts, right? It's a restaurant here, a hospital there, some sort of a government building here or there. What do you feel like is the key to going after bigger and bigger contracts? Because I'm sure the ones that Microsoft I mean, that's probably like the top of the top. So what do you feel like has to shift to be able to get those types of deals?
Well, I mean, you got to have a good safety record, number one. You got a real good safety record and a good safety program, and you got to do quality work. Biggest thing my father always taught me is, son, always do what you say you're going to do, no matter if it costs you or not. And so, again, but my encouragement even to ourselves is and to our guys is do what you do. Um, if you brought me a building to build, it's not what we do. It might be a great opportunity, but it's not what we do. If you bring me um, to do electrical work inside a building, it's not what we do. And so, stay in what you know. Be good at what you know, and
Mm,
that would be my advice.
that's good.
Bigger's not always better.
Yeah,
Bigger's not always better, but just have a goal in mind.
yeah, that's good. Let's talk about AI for a second. How do you feel like it's shaping your industry?
Well, really, Andrew, until I met you, I was kind of clueless on AI. I had a friend of mine that did some AI stuff for me on how to interview better, I guess, project management, chat GBT, again, all new things to me. Um, so I'm having to learn. And again, I guess kind of like the new project management, us older guys are trying to have to learn what's new in the industry that's going to be helpful and, where these trends are shifting to and how can it be useful. So it's new to
Hmm.
me.
Hmm. Where do you feel like, as you learn more about it, it could apply to your guys' business? Like, what are some elements that you feel like it could be helpful with?
Again, I don't know enough about it to really know. I
Sure.
know, I think in what we do, because it is outside. The thing about our business in the civil world is every site is different. Someone
Hmm.
asked me, why did I like, basically, for instance, playing in the dirt? Because every piece of dirt's different. In Denver, where you are, the soils are different than the soils here in Atlanta. The soils in Birmingham, where I grew up, are totally different. So
Hmm.
everywhere you go on the world, on the planet, is different. So everything comes with a different set of challenges.
Hmm. Yeah, I only see that on a small scale when I like visit different cities and towns. It's like some houses don't have basements in entire states because of the soil. So I can only imagine if you're doing that on a much larger scale, that's a lot to think about. You probably got to specialize in that stuff, I would imagine. Yeah,
You do.
yeah. Robert, shifting gears a bit, you and I met each other at Forge. Talk about how some of the ways, Rise Up Kings has shaped the way you do life and business.
Well, I think it's just how do we level up ourselves individually every day? How do I level up
Hmm.
as the CEO of this company? And then how am I stepping into a place of leadership for our people? And then how do
Hmm.
we push that down to all levels of leadership within this company? So one of the things
Hmm.
we've done, and from Rise Up Kings, we actually got introduced to EOS, and the EOS platform is helping us again. How do we produce a business that is scalable? How do we simplify our business and processes so that those things are scalable as we grow? That is one thing
Hmm.
we've seen that's been very difficult. Again, coming from the builder side, not the business side. We're good at building, but how do we develop processes as this thing gets bigger and bigger to make sure we keep our hands around it? So,
That's
Rise Up
good.
Kings has been really good to see a lot of different things for me. But how am I showing up every day? How do I show up every day?
Hmm.
How am I intentional about everything that we do? Um, I think one thing too is I kind of got lost a little bit in my own career. That business was so important to me. Standing up, how could I grow myself? When the most important thing was God and our faith, and then our family, and then business should come next. So I think as we get to understand that more, is how do we also that helps us lead people better, so that they don't make the same mistakes that we make, so
Yeah.
that our people are intentional about their lifestyles, with their faith, with their family, where they with their fitness and their finances. So again, I feel like that's a place that I get to step into now, understanding it more, and try to walk through it every day, and then sort of give that opportunity to the people that work here as well.
Amen. Last question. You recently got back from what looked like a really fun trip to the UK. You did some hunting, and I know that's one of your passions. Tell us about that trip a little bit. What were you up to over there?
Yeah, just an awesome opportunity to see the old country, see kind of how things were developed. Saw some neat history, and then got to do a little hunting while we were there. So it was really neat. Got to kill a red stag, and that was
Well,
pretty cool.
I was going to ask you a red stag. Yeah, being from Connecticut. I'm completely naive when it comes to hunting. So I was like, I think that looks like a pretty big deer. You texted me a picture of it. I
Yeah,
think that's a
it was
deer. I have
good.
no idea.
Yeah, it was a lot of
That's
fun.
great. That's great, Robert. If people want to learn more about who you are and what you do, where can they go?
Well, I guess you can look on our website. I think it's www.ngp-inc.com. And then they can always reach out to us as well. So,
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Robert. We had a great time. And guys, go check out NGP and what they do. And I know Robert would be fine with this, but he's a great resource, and he's personally mentored me a bit. So great guy to be in touch with. Robert, thanks for coming on the show.
Andrew, thanks for having us, buddy.